All right, we're back with another video in this series of learning how to use spin, and this is going to be our layout for today. And as always, we're going to cover 8 different spins at slow speed, medium speed, and at fast speed. So let's start with slow speed, about 30% power. This is going to be top spin. And we see how the cue ball continued to carry forward to the right rail before going down to the bottom middle diamond. Now, top right has running English, so we're going to see a little bit more action similar to the top spin, but it actually comes off of that bottom rail. Right spin is going to be similar to the last two at this speed. We see a little bit of action off the right rail and the bottom rail. But with bottom right, we're going to see a widening of the exit angle because of the bottom spin. So you see the cue ball go down to that first diamond instead of between the first and the second. Now, 6 o'clock at this slow speed is technically a draw slide. So we see that the cue ball started spinning backwards, but then started spinning forwards right as it hit the object ball. Let's watch it again in slow motion here. We're going to see the cue ball spinning backwards, then losing the backward spin and turning into a forward roll, and then gently rolling forward to that side rail, holding position. Now, bottom left is inside reverse spin. So we're going to see it pump the brakes right there and hold position. Now let's watch that one again in slow motion. Bottom left spin is inside reverse spin. So when it touches that rail, it slows down, which would be a great way to hold the ball in case you were shooting on the 8 ball here next. Now left spin is also inside reverse spin, but because it doesn't have bottom, it comes off the rail a little bit more. And last but not least, top left is also inside reverse spin. And we have the top spin also, which is going against the direction of the cue ball, and it leaves it in about the same place as we saw 9 o'clock go to. So now let's go ahead and bump up the speed from about 35% to about 55% power and see what happens when we use all of these different spins. All right, top spin at about 50% power. We're going to get a lot of movement throughout the table, touching 1, 2, and then 3 rails. Top right is very similar to top, but it's running English, so we'll get even more movement throughout the table, touching those 3 rails and then going towards the middle left side of the table. Now at medium speed with right spin, we're going to get a lot of action because that right spin really grabs off of the side rails. That's because it's running English. Now bottom right is a fun shot because we have the bottom on it, but we also have right. The ball takes a dramatic right-hand turn, your left, off of that bottom rail. Let's go ahead and watch that one more time, how the bottom spin halts the forward progress, so it goes straight down and then takes that dramatic spin off the bottom rail back towards me. Now, speaking of halting the forward progress, we're moving to bottom spin, and we see the cue ball come down, but because it still had back spin and we were shooting on an angle, the ball came back towards me. Now, bottom left spin is an inside spin, and it still has bottom, so it's going to come out sort of straight before hitting that bottom rail and then taking that left-hand turn, which is your right, before coming to the middle of the table. Now let's watch it again. See if it makes sense to you with the left spin, how it takes that turn off the bottom rail. Now if it's starting to make sense to you, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. Now 9 o'clock is maximum inside reverse spin, so we see the cue ball pump the brakes real hard off that right rail before slowing down at the bottom of the table. Let's watch it again. Notice how the black dots spin on that cue ball. All right, moving on to top left, which is also an inside spin, a reverse spin. So let's compare top left to top right. All right, here's your hint. The faster moving ball is top right because it has running English. All right, we got 8 more spins for you at high speed this time. We're going to bump it up to about 70% power. And let's see where that cue ball ends up this time. All right, top spin at about 70% power. We're going to get lots of travel around the whole table, touching 5 rails in total before making a final stop at the top of the table. Now, top right spin is going to be running outside English, so we're going to get a lot of travel as well. We don't even need to hit the ball as hard to get the same amount of movement. Now, right spin is going to be also outside running English, so we'll get a lot of movement as well around that table, getting us in nice shape for that 8-ball. Now, bottom right, we're going to see that cue ball spinning backwards, hitting that bottom rail before taking a dramatic turn off of those bottom left rails before settling up table. Bottom spin, I did 2 different takes of this to show you that, again, different speed and different angle can equal different results. So this is the first angle. And then let's go ahead and watch the second variation. And then I'll put the 2 on top of one another. So out of these 2 attempts, the second attempt looks like a better setup to get on that 8-ball. All right, here's both attempts laid one on top of the other. And we're going to see what the difference was right here. We can see that the follow through on one of them was about 2 inches longer. Okay, bottom left spin, we're combining 2 different spins. Bottom is going to make the cue ball go down to the bottom rail, and left spin makes it take that turn. Now, left spin is a maximum inside reverse / kill / hold shot. So when it touches that rail, it slows down, and we can see that the ball is still spinning clockwise. Now, top left is also inside spin / reverse spin. So when we hit that first rail, it slows the cue ball down so that the cue ball doesn't go flying all the way to the top rail. Now, if you like this video, don't forget that this is part of a larger series to help you learn how to use cue ball spin so that you can predict where the cue ball is going to go next. And if you want to watch another video in this series, click on the link in the top corner of the screen. Click here if you want to watch another one of my videos.